Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. Cases, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network, my overlords and yours for the next hour. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. That's why it's called The Cam Show. Zach Burke is behind the glass, keeping us on the air as we talk about nothing but Boston sports. And if you're new here, welcome. We're here every weekday live at high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. So don't be afraid to check out that channel. Get involved in the comment section. I'm looking at comments all the time, good, bad, or ugly. So let me know what you're thinking about Marco Sturm and the upcoming Bruins season in the comment section below, because we will talk about the hidden reason why Marco Sturm is actually a really good fit for this Bruins team. I'm getting optimistic, Cam, today about the Bruins. We will also talk about why week two is a must-win game for this Patriots team. If they lose to this embarrassment of a Dolphins team, you can pack it in already. Plus, we will continue our greatest calls series. Myself and Zach Burke will do the greatest calls in baseball history. Baseball, man. That's a tough one to tackle. Okay, trust me, we're going to be going back in time quite a bit in this one, if my picks are any indication. So myself and Zach, we will get that done in the third segment as well. But we start where we start, and that is on this show with the Bruins. And we're pretty much always starting with the Bruins. And I want to look at the head coach here because I have been, before I really get into this, I have been super critical of the Marco Sturm hire. I just didn't like the fact that he, this is, I don't know. I just didn't like this. Felt like an entry-level job. Marco Sturm has good coaching experience, but to just jump in and be the head coach of the Boston Bruins, to me, that should be a big deal. And I don't know if he has the requisite experience for that, but there is something about him and his resume that I really, really love. And I'm going to go through it here because I don't think it's been talked about enough. So without any further ado, let's start where we start with Marco Sturm, the new head coach of the Boston Bruins. When you look at the downfall of the Bruins the last few years, which it is a downfall. They finished 15th in the Eastern Conference last year, and 2 years before they set the wins and points record. When you look at that, when you look at the downfall, there's a pretty simple issue at the crux of all of it. Okay. The same problem for the Boston Bruins is the same one that's facing churches, landline phone companies, Florida. They aged out. There's no young talent. They've had a roster management problem because they've had a development problem. They've had a development problem mainly because they have a talent evaluation problem. If they could identify and develop young talent, there would be none of this, well, they were bound to suck at some point. There wouldn't have to be that. Expert teams could find their way around that. And the Bruins were actually in a spot to continue having a pretty good team if they just could evaluate talent or develop talent. It wouldn't have to be the way that we're talking about it now. You traded a lot of picks, and no one's really knocking you for that. We love that you went all in as much as you did, Don Sweeney, because you had teams that could go all in. But still, you did have plenty of opportunity to keep this era going if you were halfway competent at drafting and developing. I mean, need we look any further than the start of it? 2015. Not to bring up those skeletons. But 3 straight picks in the first round, and he doesn't really hit on any of them. And the one he does hit on would have been a guy who in the redraft still would have been 15th in the draft in Jake DeBrusk. So there was plenty of opportunity for the Bruins to kind of keep this thing going. They haven't yet because they don't draft and develop talent. So when Don Sweeney was looking for a head coach this spring, he had 2 options, right? You can go out and you can get the seasoned guy, the defined structure, style, experience winning in the NHL, or you could go the cheaper, easier to control route, and you can find the developer. Don Sweeney, of course, did the latter. Cheap, doesn't want to bring in his own assistant coaches, will kind of let me run the show. Of course, that's where Don Sweeney went. And the Bruins, to me, sent a pretty clear message this summer with how they handled free agency and the trade market so far, and that is win with what you got. We're not bringing in talent So you, Marco Sturm, are going to have to find the talent in the guys you already have on the roster and in the pipeline. And if you read between the lines of Sturm's resume, you can see that he does develop talent. Like, does it still upset me that the Boston Bruins are an entry-level job? Yes, it does. But what upsets me more is when the Bruins hired him, they're playing up, oh, it's this fan favorite coming home angle. Remember when he scored at Fenway? When he was hired, it was literally his tweet after tweet, man, video after video of him scoring that goal. And I'm thinking, we don't want this. We don't want to just have another member of the family. We're sick of that. And to me, it's kind of insulting to Marco Sturm. Like, yeah, he had a pretty good playing career, right? He played 940 games in the NHL. Played a long time. But he has been a coach somewhere else. And he's never worked for the Bruins or any of their coaches or their GM. So just tell me what this guy can do. I don't give a shit about the goal he scored outside 15 years ago. I could not care less when it comes to how I'm picking my coach. You know, ask the old Arizona Coyotes fans how they felt about having Wayne Gretzky. He scored a lot of goals as their coach. Like, if you've watched the rise of the LA Kings the last couple of years, and they have been one of the best teams in hockey, even though they can't get past Edmonton, they have been one of the best teams in hockey. And if you've watched them the last few years, you know what Marco Sturm can do because you've seen the young core of that team. And in some ways, that does perfectly align with where the Bruins are at right now. So Sturm was an assistant for the Kings before coaching the Ontario Reign in the AHL. That was his most recent job the last 3 years. And when he was an assistant with the big club, a winger named Quinton Byfield rose through the ranks. And he was a winger for a little bit there. And he plays 40 games in the NHL as a 20-year-old. And then he's sent back down to the AHL the next year. This is a kid who was the number 2 pick in the draft. He gets 40 games at the NHL level, and they send him down. And then he's playing for the new Ontario Reign coach, Marco Sturm. And under Sturm in the AHL, Byfield scored 16 points in 15 games and was right back up in the NHL, scored 55 points the next year. Through the early time in the NHL and the time he had in the AHL, like that crucial development, that's Marco Sturm. Another guy, Adrian Kempe. Remember, you know Adrian Kempe scored 40 goals a couple years ago. Before that, he was learning under Marco Sturm. Credits a lot of his development to him. Brandt Clarke, really highly rated guy, another top 10 pick. He plays a couple of games in the NHL. He scores. You know, he's on the score sheet. He played about 10 games in the NHL. He's feeling good about himself. And then not only does Brandt Clarke get sent down to the CHL, but then the next year, after starting the year in the AHL, the next year, he's in the AHL for 50 games. You know, we talk about it in hockey, but a lot of baseball, right? These guys who come up and then you send them back down, that's got to kill their confidence. So he goes and plays 50 games for Marco Sturm for the Ontario Reign. Huge prospect. And all he does is become almost a point-a-game player as a defenseman. 46 points in 50 games. And now he's seen as one of the futures of that franchise. Those are 3 real big pieces of the LA Kings, one of the best teams in the Western Conference, a team much better than the Bruins, who have a really bright future that Marco Sturm has a direct hand in without being the head coach of the LA Kings. And for Sturm here, his work's cut out for him. Okay? Because finally, we've got prospects in Boston, finally. But they're not that good. That guy isn't coming until next year, okay? They're not that highest echelon like what the Kings had. Matthew Poitras, Fraser Minton, Fabian Lysell, like those guys could be and maybe should be NHL contributors by now, but they're not top 10 picks, okay? But here's where I'm going to trust Marco Sturm in terms of developing these guys at the NHL level rather than the AHL level. And the reason I'm going to trust him is because The Kings always integrated these guys into the lineup the right way. The way that I have been criticizing the Bruins, the way the Bruins have been doing it for years. They do it the Kings do it the exact opposite. And I know this is a much used and oft used criticism of Don Sweeney. But when Quinton Byfield was coming up in his first, year or two, Adrian Kempe, same thing. They were on the ice, like time on ice, just as long as Matthew Poitras and Fabian Lysell have been. But the difference is they got more of a chance with those 12, 13 minutes a night. The Kings guys did. Byfield comes up, and he's playing on a line with Adrian Kempe and Trevor Moore, game one. And there's a lot of his early part of his career where he's playing on a line, again, because he's on the wing for a little bit. He's playing on a line with Adrian Kempe and Anze Kopitar. Another bright young star alongside him in Kempe, and a savvy veteran, future Hall of Famer in Anze Kopitar. When Kempe came up into the fold, he was playing with Kopitar and Tyler Toffoli, 30-goal guy in the NHL. The Kings were bringing a team along as they were bringing these prospects along. They weren't in a full rebuild. They weren't completely tanking. They had some good pieces there, but they knew they needed to integrate these young guys into the lineup, and they knew they were coming along, but they needed a real chance to play with real NHL players. The Bruins are in the same boat, man. They're in the same boat. And you look at those Kings teams of, 4 or 5 years ago is what we're talking about now. They weren't loaded with talent either, They could put Anze Kopitar on a line with Quinton Byfield and Adrian Kempe. I think Dustin Brown, towards the end of his career, was playing a little bit with Quinton Byfield too. But it's not like they had 4 lines deep where they had a 20-goal scorer on every line. They could just plug guys in. They were using some of the limited talent they had to play with the young guys, Kempe and Byfield, and bring them along. So for Poitras and Lysell and Minton, Blumel, Mason Lowry even, give them a chance. Give them a chance here. Spread them up and down the lineup. Have the centers play some shifts with Pastrnak and Geekie. Try it. Try it. Because the only thing that's been more frustrating about the Bruins' development over the last couple of years, the only thing more frustrating than their lack of an eye for talent, is that they won't give these guys a real shot. And, when Marco Sturm comes over, people are touting how he's developed guys in the Kings system. And they're right. Like he has, as I've just mentioned, he has. But so much of that development is crucial in the fact that they played with NHL guys. They played with actual skilled players around them. They got that chance. They weren't playing 16, 17 minutes a night. They were playing 13 minutes a night, just like Matthew Poitras and Fabian Lysell did towards the end of last season. Except they played those minutes with a Hall of Famer and Anze Kopitar and another really skilled player, Byfield on one side and Kempe on the other, or Dustin Brown being on that line, savvy, captain, veteran. And the Bruins guys are playing with Marat Husnadinov. And if I had to guess, they'll probably be playing with guys like Sean Corrali and Tanner Jeannot instead of playing with some of the little amount of talent they actually really have. And when you look at the outlook of this Bruins team, it's like, are they going to be much worse if Matthew Poitras is playing some shifts on the first line than if, Elias Lindholm is playing some minutes on the first line? You know what I mean? Like, are they going to be worse by continuing to bury these guys down on the third and fourth line than they would be if one of them was playing on the first line or the second line every night? Would they really be that much worse? Would they be worse than 15th in the Eastern Conference? Or maybe all goes well, and by midseason, Matthew Poitras hitting his stride, and he's playing with guys like Pastrnak and Geekie, and it's working. And Fabian Lysell's a second-line winger, And Pavel Zacha's having a bounce back year, and he's really helping bring this kid along. When you look at what Marco Sturm has right now, he's got something of a future here. Something of a future in that the Bruins are not in the 30s when it comes to prospect rankings. They're actually much higher. It's something I want to cover tomorrow. He's got some decent prospects here now that if he develops them correctly, I think not only can the Bruins start winning, not Stanley Cup kind of winning, but, winning some games, but also those guys he's developing now can pave the way for the great prospects that they will have in this pipeline. Guys like James Hagens, Will Zellers, hopefully, whomever the first-round pick is in next year's draft for the Bruins. This is where Marco has to win. The only way this era is a successful one is if he develops this young talent, because they spend up to the cap. They don't have an eye for talent. They don't make good deals in free agency. They're not going to plug these holes through shrewd asset management like the Panthers do. The Bruins can't do that. Don Sweeney can't do that. So maybe it's a tip of the cap to Don. He hired a developer here. He was cheap, and he'll do whatever Don tells him to, and that's probably why Marco Sturm's the coach. But he can develop some talent. And oh, by the way, just one last thing, because I got to get my cynicism in here somehow. If the Bruins do tank for Gavin McKenna, and they do have a bottom 5 record in the league, but he has developed some of this talent, they start winning some games by the end of the year. Matthew Poitras's a 40-point guy. Then that's a win. That's a win. Because even if you do bring on, the Fraser Mittens and the Fabian Lysels and the Matthew Poitras and the Mason Lowrides of the world, and they all get better, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a playoff team. It really doesn't. Again, this is a long uphill battle for the Bruins. So you can even put yourself in a good draft position and still take a lot of positives away from the development of your team. That's where Marco Sturm can win. Okay. He doesn't come in here as this heavy defensive structured guy like some have talked about. He's not really that. He's not going to come in and completely elevate your power play. He's not going to do that either. But what he can do is he can develop these fringe NHL guys into real NHL guys. And then you've got something to look forward to towards the future that doesn't mean spending up to the cap any more than you already have. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you expect from Marco Sturm this year? What do you think is the brightest part about Marco Sturm's hire? Let me know in the comment section below. Then be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you just can't wait for hockey to be back, no matter how bad the Bruins are going to be this year or how good. Okay, we're on the path towards 4,000 subscribers, and we're getting really close, y'all. Just over 100 subscribers away, so we need your help in getting there. We're here every weekday live at high noon Eastern time on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. That's why it's called The Cam Show. It is your direct alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, if you don't want to be listening to that anymore. Zach Burke is behind the glass, keeping us on the air. Check out the other videos on the channel, talking Bruins, Red Sox, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports. When we come back, it's week 2, and yet it's already a must-win for the New England Patriots. We'll tell you why and why that's scary coming up next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Welcome to Kit Bag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, we've got your team's colors running through our veins. From official replica kits to custom player prints of your favorite stars like Ronaldo, Messi, and Kane, Kit Bag is your one-stop shop for all things football. Powered by Fanatics, we deliver to over 180 countries, ensuring you get the gear you need fast. For true football passion, think Kit Bag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kit Bag.
For 75 years, Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. No gimmicks, just durable, well-designed bottles built to last. Join us on our mission to amplify life, not complicate it. Because at Nalgene, what goes into our bottles matters as much as the adventures they fuel. Explore more at nalgene.com. That's NALGENE.com. Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Since 2003, we've been connecting buyers and sellers, providing access to sold-out events at prices lower than most secondary market options. Whether it's sports, theater, or concerts, our massive nationwide network ensures you get the tickets you want, guaranteed. For the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. That's TICKETLIQUIDATOR.com. Ticket Liquidator.
I'm Hunter, the founder of Hello Cake, and today we're digging into ED meds. The number one thing we hear is that guys are sick of waiting for ED meds to kick in. Traditional ED meds take about an hour to kick in as they have to go through your digestive system, where Hello Cake's ED medication dissolves under your tongue and works in about 15 minutes. That's about 3 times faster than traditional ED medication. Curious about ED meds? Go to hellocake.com.
And now, back to our show.
Back to the show, Cam Show, Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke is behind the glass. He's keeping us on the air, as he does every day, every weekday anyway. Neither of us are working weekends. Every weekday live at high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. We'll have Zach on in the next segment. We'll talk about the greatest baseball calls of all time, which, golly, is that a daunting task. I mean, shit. We're talking about close to 100 years of calls, at least on the radio. You know what I mean? And all the compilations you see, of course, are from the last 10 years. It's like, well, I'll give you a little peek. None of mine are going to be from the last 10 years. None. Not a single damn one. But first, we got to talk about the Patriots. After we talked about the Bruins the last segment, it's a big week 2 for the Patriots, and I'm already worried. I am already worried about this Patriots team. I'm already talking about going into week 2 of the NFL season and saying this is a must win for Mike Vrabel and the Patriots. Not must win in terms of Vrabel's going to get fired. Not must win in terms of Drake May's not the answer. Just a must win in terms of, can we be excited about something this season? You know? That's where it becomes a must-win. If you fall to 0-2 and you lose this Dolphins team we saw get embarrassed last week, then how are you going to get people fired up about this? How are you going to get people to believe? How are you going to get people in the stadium the next week against Carolina? It's going to be a real uphill battle. You know, the Red Sox have a huge series this weekend against the Yankees at home. And the place is going to be buzzing. They've dominated the Yankees this year. And if they do it again, they'll be in sole possession of the first wild card and be in second place in the division and be right back in the division hunt. And you don't think people are going to be all over that in this city more so than the 0-2 Patriots? Think again, man. Think again. It'll become what it was before 25 years ago. And that was a second fiddle team in this town. Maybe it'll start to look like it did for a long time and that this was a baseball town, not a football town. That's what it's going to look like if the Patriots fall to 0-2. Because, look, this Dolphins team, this is a mess, man. This Dolphins team is a fucking mess. And this vaping, capri-wearing head coach is about to be fired, about to be shit-canned. Nobody's liking it there. Tyreek Hill's throwing tantrums. He hasn't had a 100-yard receiving game in a year. Tua will once again resurrect his career because he's playing the Patriots. If he didn't play the Patriots twice a year, he'd probably be Mac Jones by now. Seriously, that's 2 free wins for him every single year. But we can't undersell this enough. As bad as the Patriots looked on Sunday, maybe the only team in the AFC that looked worse was the Dolphins. I mean, Indiana Jones, Danny Dimes, just all over him. 22 of 29 for Daniel Jones. For 272 and a touchdown and 33 points scored. 20-0 at halftime. Like if Drake May can't equal what Daniel Jones is doing against the Dolphins, if somehow by the end of this week, the greatest starting quarterback in the NFL right now out of Charlotte is Daniel Jones and not Drake May, that's a fucking problem, man. That's a problem. The Dolphins, they turned it over 3 times. They couldn't run the ball. Indianapolis ran all over them whenever they wanted to. They ran for 156 yards in this game. They literally doubled up what the Dolphins did. Like, if the Patriots can't establish a run now, if Drake May can't look good now, if this defense can't force turnovers now against this team that is like bleeding out on the side of the road, then when are they going to do it? When are they going to do it? I hesitate to believe they'd even do it against Carolina the next week. But all of a sudden, this suddenly easy schedule has been completely thrown into flux, man. Miami, Carolina, at New Orleans. Do you feel good about any of those all of a sudden after what we saw on Sunday against a Raiders team that's not very good? I know everyone's trying to convince you they're good this week. Geno's a good quarterback. He's top half of the league. That's not a very good football team. It's not. And the defense was ass last year. And you barely muscled out 13 against them. Barely. And 1 touchdown against them. That's piss poor. So, yeah, this is a must-win game for the Patriots. Must win. And we know the numbers. I think it's 10% of teams. I guess I don't know the numbers. No, it is. It's 10% of teams in the last 35 years have made the playoffs after starting 0-2. 34 times it's happened in 35 years. And some people might say, well, that's 1 a year. Roughly, yes, because there are teams that unexpectedly start 0-2. But those are typically good teams that have a tough schedule to begin with. I think one of the recent ones was the 22 Bengals. They had gone to the Super Bowl the year before. They had a tough schedule to start the next year. They started 0-2. They made the playoffs. There's no Joe Burrow on this team. There's no experience of playing in the Super Bowl the year before. Not all the 0-2 teams are created equal. And if the Patriots start 0-2, they're 0-2 with a first-year head coach for this team, a quarterback who's still, for all intents and purposes, in his rookie year, and a bunch of losers. If we're being honest, this team's filled with losers. Guys that just haven't won. Milt Williams, only one who's won. Did you hear his name on Sunday? So yeah, this is a must win for the Patriots in my eyes. Is it a must win for you? Let me know in the comments section below. Then be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're coming at you every weekday, live, high noon Eastern time on YouTube, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Check out the other videos on the channel, talking Patriots, Red Sox, Bruins, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week. Coming up next, we'll bring Zach into the fold, and we will finally do it. The top baseball announcer calls of all time. This will undoubtedly spark debate. So let me know what your favorite ones are in the comments below, and you'll get ours, our top 2 or 3, coming up next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Maud Lily is your go-to for stylish and affordable fashion that fits your life. Whether you're looking for the perfect swimsuit for a beach day, a chic dress for a night out, or cozy tops for everyday wear, Maud Lily has it all. Their extensive collection of swimwear, including bikinis, tankinis, and one-pieces, always keeps you on trend, while their dresses and tops come in flattering styles for every occasion. Visit maudlily.com today.
Natural Cycles identifies your fertile window by analyzing changes in your temperature. It's the first FDA-cleared birth control app. No hormones, no side effects, and 93% effective with typical use, and 98% effective with perfect use. Just measure in the morning, add your temperature into the app, then learn which days you can and cannot get pregnant. It's that easy. Learn more at naturalcycles.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. Home. There's no place like it. Homes are filled with memories and emotions. OfferPad knows this is your home, not your house. That's why we do what we do. Every day, we aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
And now, back to our show.
Back to it. Cam Show, Rogue Media Sports Network, up close and personal with
Always
your
like
Mr. Zach Burke.
I can only see it down in the preview, so I never see like how like all up in my grill y'all are.
Well, we're up in it today. We're up
here,
in
by
your
the
grill,
way, I
your
made
propane
sure
grill.
to I don't know if you can wear it. It's my Topps baseball shirt.
Wow.
where-
Do you like baseball or something?
I do. I love baseball. Baseball and basketball. I don't know if we ever talked about this. Those are my two favorite sports.
Really?
Yeah. And
It's
I know that's
not a-
very odd living in a state of Texas that football.
Yeah, and like, and not even just that, but like we talk football a lot. You
Yeah,
played
no,
football.
I enjoy football. I played more football than anything else growing up. But when it came to just watching and enjoying, and still now, baseball and basketball.
Baseball does rock, I
Mhm.
must say. And this is kind of the we might have should have done this bigger because like this is the
That's
magnum
true.
opus, so to speak. Like
It is.
finding the best baseball calls.
I loved, I don't mean to take away from this, but when you went on about how none of your calls are from the past 10 years, none of my calls are from the past 10 years either. And it's,
in fact, like I looked at compilations just to see if I missed a great one from the last 10 years. And there's some good ones, sure, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't. I'm
No.
fine. I'm very content with mine.
oddly enough, the thing I think I enjoy most about the past 10 years is just the poor timing of Nick Castellanos home runs.
That's great. I genuinely thought about putting, I don't know if you did. I thought about putting the Tom Brenneman thing in there.
So
I think that counts as like a great call.
It does. You thought about that. I thought about just playing one of Euchre's bits from Major League of the 6-1 runs on one hit, one goddamn hit. You can't say that on air and nobody's listening. Like I thought about doing that just because Bob Euchre is a great play-by-play guy to begin with, and he's hilarious in Major League. But yeah, no, I stayed serious, and I feel like mine, one of mine is for sure just so cookie cutter, and I don't care.
Well, let's start with yours. Let's do it.
There's a reason for it. I'll save the one that I don't think will be on most people's list, or it might be, but for my latter one, this one is, I think that when it's going to be in the conversation for a lot of people. I don't know if you've ever did this, and we've talked about it before of how we are kind of different beings in a way when it comes to like play-by-play guys and our appreciation and love for it. When I worked at the radio station, there was a guy that I worked with there named Jason, and Jason and I would spend time kind of like we have, or like with Pete upstairs before too, of just talking about the play-by-play guys we loved and what we loved about him. And it didn't matter what the game was, how they would cause us to like tune in no matter what. And one of those guys, even though the older he got, it kind of got a little harder, but was Vin Scully. And baseball is, for me, one of those sports that has more of those people and more of those broadcasters than any other sport.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but we would always talk about Vin Scully. And of course, I'm going to play the call that you think I'm going to play, but I broke it up into two parts because one of the things that I love so much about Vin Scully and about the greats of just baseball commentators in general is the way they're able to just set the mood and to paint the picture and to let you know what's riding on this. So I'm going to break it up into two parts. It's in total, it's less than a minute, but I'll pay about 25 seconds. We'll come back. I'll talk real quick and then we'll go to the actual highlight. But I just love this setup from Vin.
All year long, they look to him to light the fire. And all year long, he answered the demand. until he was physically unable to start tonight with 2 bad legs, the bad left hamstring and the swollen right knee. And with 2 out, you talk about a roll of the dice. This is it.
The laundry list, by the way, is great.
Oh,
The
for
injury
sure.
report is great.
Poor Kirk Gibson and everything that was wrong with him. But like that's like he's
Look
just sets as
who's
you go up
coming
there,
up.
and it just
Ugh.
sets the moment perfectly. If you know, like he says, it throws the stat on there, but he just describes of how big he is for them in that postseason. But then the laundry list of everything that's wrong that just sets up the 6-minute at bat. Because that's all it, but you're just ready and you're on as he's fouling him off and he's fouling him off. There's a line in there too of him, like, if he does get a grounder, he's running at best 50% to first. Like, that's what the A's are hoping for. And it just builds the tension.
Eck could just walk him. He could just walk him. And there's nothing they could do. They'd have to bring in another replacement. Didn't do that. I believe Kirk's line was to lead into this. I believe Kirk's line was, as sure as I'm on God's green earth, he's going to throw me that backdoor slider.
Yep. And this is the call then, of course.
But the game right now is at the plate. High fly ball into right field. She is gone. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I know it's very
cliche,
but it's so like that's the thing. It's one of the top ones for a reason.
Well,
and Vince Scully was one of is and will always be one of the voices of baseball for a reason. He's just so good at it. And the thing is, you can go back and listen to him because he did it for so long. You can hear him, cover guys like Koufax and stuff back. Like it's
he called games in Brooklyn, man.
Yeah,
for a couple of years actually. That is one of the greatest. That's one I had as one of my alternates just in case. The other 2 that I'm officially submitting with an honorable mention. The other 2 that I'm officially submitting are both regular season calls, Zach. I almost wanted to challenge myself here.
Oh, okay. My other one is postseason. So because
and it feels like this is the way too. Baseball, more than other sports, have bigger moments in the regular season. Like all-star game moments are bigger. Obviously we pay way more attention to records in baseball, like numbers and the one that stuck out for me as a kid was in 2007, in the summer of 2007. This is before streaming services, right? I feel old saying that, but I know you'll remember this very well. And when one of these moments was coming up, you remember, how about this way? Remember a couple years ago when Aaron Judge was approaching 60 homers?
I think I know exactly what you're about to talk about. Yeah.
Remember that? And people were pissed. And I was like, they should be pissed. But I was like, I remember this in early August of 2007. Yeah. And no matter what you were watching on ESPN, it would cut into the San Francisco Giants games for every Barry Bonds at bat. Is this when he's going to do it? Is this going to be it? And honestly, for the time, like that was great. That was perfect because we couldn't just, buy a package and watch every San Francisco Giants game.
Yeah.
We couldn't see it on Twitter 5 seconds after it happened. We would either see it on Baseball Tonight or we'd see it live right the fuck now. And I can always distinctly remember it. It was August the 7th or 8th. Well, I guess I can't distinctly remember it.
I'll look that part up.
I think it's the 7th. I think it's August 7th of 2007. I'm watching late night and I got to stay up. I was 10 and lo and behold, here comes Barry Bonds, and I believe the 5th inning against the Washington Nationals. Mike Bassick on the mound, and the great San Francisco Giants call.
Bassick deals, and Bonds hits one high, hits it deep, it is out of here! 7:56, Bonds stands alone. He is on top of the all-time home run list.
And they kind of speed along that call there. It's actually a little bit more drawn out than that. But to me, that's perfect. It's a moment. You're letting it breathe, but you're also saying exactly what's happening. There's the emotion there. Obviously, he says that with all his calls. Hits one high, hits one deep. But that one, hits it high, hits it deep. Like you're feeling it with him. So not the best guy, Barry Bonds, but hell of a call.
Yeah.
Hell of a call.
No, and it's funny you bring that up and you liken it to the Aaron Judge thing, because this very much was that. I brought up one radio station story. We are still working there around that time, a radio station in Texas that would carry then Giants games close to when it went, because it was it was the 7th. You were right on the date. I feel like it was a Saturday.
I think it was, yeah,
because we carried it. The Rangers played.
And then
we carried
a Nationals Giants
game. Maybe they played in the morning or they played, I don't know. But still, I remember because I produced it.
Yeah,
I remember watching on TV and producing the game while it happened. But yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just saying. So it captivated people, but that is, I do love the call, even though necessarily not the biggest fan of Barry Bonds. But yeah.
So I have one more quick story on that.
Sure.
Because one of my best friends from growing up, I'm actually going to be going to a bachelor party with him this weekend. We're carpooling together. He went, this is in 4th grade. So that's how long we've been friends. He went to San Francisco on a family trip and they went to a Giants game.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I'm going to go see Barry Bonds play. Like, this is huge. And we knew he was approaching, this is like May. So he's not really close to the record, but we know he's going to approach the record this year.
Yeah.
And he comes back and I ask him, like, how'd it go? Like, what did you see him hit a home run? Like,
yeah.
And he goes, nah, we left after a couple innings. He just kept hitting fouls. I was like, they just left after like 2 at-bats. He just kept fouling pitches off, man.
Yeah.
What a dick, huh? He's like, nah, we didn't see it. I don't think he did hit a home run in that game or anything, but I was just like, man, imagine telling your grandkids, like, I saw him in the season, he hit 756, but he just kept hitting fouls.
I just
left. And this kid's an awesome baseball fan too, so that stinks. But anyway, that was the last. Right. That was the last story on mine.
Sorry. So
your second one.
My second one is the one that I kind of, went back and forth a lot more over. At first, it was oddly enough, it was Eric Nadell's Felice with the windup, a swing and a miss. Struck him out. The Rangers are going to the World Series from 2010, because I have always been a huge fan of Eric Nadell. But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, maybe that's more like just a regional thing in me. I will still hold that Eric Nadell is among the best when it comes to radio broadcasters in baseball. But so I started thinking about, all right, well, what about this call? Is it because of the historical, and I tried to find that clip that was the perfect blend of everything to me. And that is where I finally landed on my second clip, which I think is a phenomenal call. We've talked about it before, that growing up. Do you know which one it is?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably.
We talked about growing up how I was, even though I'm a Rangers fan and have been for a while, I think I told the story of how that happened. Massive King Griffey Jr. fan as a kid.
Yep.
And my grandmother is actually from Washington State. And so she would have family that was there that as a kid, like they'd send me I got posters and stuff. Oh, I ate it up. I loved it. So I enjoyed watching that Mariners team there then too, especially in the 90s. Dave Niehaus. I love Dave Niehaus as an announcer. One thing that he did a lot with King Griffey Jr. home runs was goodbye. Well, he did a lot with Goodbye Baseball, which is a great call. But that's not the one I went with. The one I went with is still, well, here, I'll just let it play.
And John Wetland one more time set. And here comes the 2-2 pitch to Edgar Martinez now. And the fastball swung on, lit to deep center field. Bernie Williams goes back, and it is get out the rye bread and the mustard this time, Grandma. It is a grand salami, and the Mariners lead it 10-6. I don't believe it. My, oh my.
Get out the rye bread and the mustard this time, Grandma. It's a grand salami.
As soon as he's hitting the tarp, he's like pivot pointing. Okay.
Yes,
Can I, as much as I would want to hear you talk more about Dave Niehaus and his calls, can I go into my next one?
No, go ahead.
Because it's one that we've talked about, and this will seem less rude in a minute. But it's one that we've actually talked about on this show before. It's a regular season home run. But I don't mind. Like, I actually love a goofy baseball announcer. I do. Some like the fucking Charlotte Hornets guy that just screams. Like, that's a little bit too much for me. But like John Sterling, like total blowhard for the Yankees. But like, that's fine, man. He's the Yankees announcer. This guy too.
Nope. And that ball is belted. That may be in the upper deck. Fly away, way over the Hard Rock Cafe. My, oh my, what a shot by Junior. The Mariners get 3 more, and you can hear the buzz here at the Sky Dome. A mammoth home run by Ken Griffey Jr., and both of them tonight have been tape measure jobs. Boy.
You see why I did that?
Yeah, no, I see. See,
why I did that, man.
I just love it because baseball, more so than any sport, benefits from calls like that. Like you should get excited for that. You hear it in the crowd, it hushes everybody, just for that moment. And so, like, that's part of the reason I didn't get into it, but even the Kirk Gibson call is, I think that the emotion and just the excitement in the calls itself is when he's rounding the bases. You hear clapping, and at first, if you're listening, it sounds like, oh, the crowd mic is off, like something. No, it's them in the booth, like they're like hooping and hollering too, and like that's what I love. So more baseball, more so than any of the other sports. And I know we talked a little bit with college football, which I think it fits there then too.
Yes,
but it thrives so much more from that little extra just pop and that energy. Oh, I love it.
Over the Hard Rock
Cafe. Tonight, both of them take measure jobs.
I know. Like, that is fantastic. By the way, I didn't even mention this on the Kirk Gibson call. Yeah. What's great about that is you could put the Kirk Gibson home run on the Mount Rushmore of broadcast calls by 2 different people.
That's true.
So often you hear them kind of thrown together. You hear the she is gone, and then he's rounding the bases, and you hear, I don't believe what I just saw. That's a different call. That's Jack Buck doing the radio. Like, it's crazy, man. 2 all-time like classic calls within the same home run. I wanted to put in my honorable mention because when I first thought of this idea to do these, I was thinking of this call that I'm about to play.
Okay. I can't tell what it is from the preview, so I'm interested.
Good. Okay. Because when we did college football, which I think was the first one, I did that Boise State one. Remember that?
Oh,
Boise State beating Oklahoma. And it's not like a poetic call, but you're just kind of feeling it in real time. Like, I don't mind an announcer's call that lasts like that has a shelf life of about half a second. I don't mind that because we're all kind of there, right? And that one was, he hands it off to Johnson, and Brenneman sees the lane, so already he's just in. And Boise State has won. You know what I mean? It's just happening right then. This is the other one that made me think of that, because I was like, these are calls that I like that other people will poke the very obvious hole in. But speaking of Jack Buck, this is the anticipation call. I love it.
Sort of halfway at second and short. Pena in a jam. The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it. It's a base hit. It's a 1-0 10-inning victory.
I mean, did he tell you what happened?
Yeah.
He told you what happened, man.
You didn't need to know. Yeah, exactly. In that instance, it wins it all. I don't need to know that it was, hit right through the short.
It's
paraphrasing,
one of the beauties of baseball, man, that you get sometimes in football on like a long touchdown. You get it, but you don't really get in basketball. You don't really get it in hockey. That this thing is happening, and we're all seeing exactly what is about to happen, right? Like football, 60-yard touchdown run, the last 20 yards. Everybody on the planet watching it knows what's happening. This one, it's the same thing. A fly ball needs to get out there. It's the same thing with Luis Gonzalez in 2001.
That's honestly the one
everybody
I was about
knows
to bring
it's
up.
going to drop.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. And so I don't mind when you're kind of hanging the suspense in the air like that. Like the Twins are going to win the World Series, then it lands. The Twins have won it. Like it's not the most poetic. It's very simpleton. A lot of people will hate it for the same reason that I love it. But I just love that feeling during a baseball game of we know that this is happening right in front of us. So that's the call that inspired me to do this series.
Really?
There it is.
I like that.
Yeah.
Those are all I love our calls, honestly. But that's the thing, is like baseball is,
but no, like Giants win the pennant, no Bobby Thompson,
but that's
Jack
another,
Buck with the Ozzie Smith home run, no Joe Buck with the David Freese stuff. I spared you from that.
Thank you.
David no Red Sox stuff. I don't know that there's any.
See, I watched the
Sox
Fisk
one.
with the,
Yeah, which is like it's an okay call. It's a great moment.
Yeah,
it's a great moment. I thought about doing it because it's almost the 50th anniversary next month.
Well, and then I watched some that led into the discussion we've had too of how much of it is the actual moment and how much of it is the call. Because some of those, it's more so the moment you watch or you see unfolding than it is a call.
Yeah, and to that end, some people who have seen the Kirk Gibson home run and heard that call a bunch of times would think, wow, like they just won the World Series. That was game one. That was game one of this. It's great, but that was game one of the series. You know what I mean? You wouldn't even know based off that because it does feel like one of the great iconic moments in baseball history.
For sure. Baseball to me was honestly, I think the hardest out of all of them, just because I think, there's so much history in baseball.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just more to choose from, mainly.
And I don't know if maybe it's
the announcers
me.
Are douchebags. So
as I was going to say, maybe I don't know if it's me kind of thinking about it more fondly than it actually is, but I feel like there were more. How can I put this? They're better announcers, which made it harder for me to find my favorite or best calls. Like that's the thing. Baseball to me, more so than any other sport, has more best call nominees.
Yes, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt, man.
Are we going to do hockey? Like, are we done with this then, or
we can maybe do? We'll talk about it. We can maybe do a miscellaneous because I could do hockey, but I know you're not. You don't have this.
I could hunt and I could watch compilations and then be like, these are my two favorites, and here's why. I could do that.
We could.
I don't know.
We also got to think of something for tomorrow, so we gotta discuss.
Oh, that is. Oh, well, okay. Well, I guess we can do that off here. Never mind.
Yeah. Anyway, we're running late here. Thanks for watching the Cam Show. We're here every weekday, high noon Eastern time. Thanks to Zach, and wherever you get your podcast as well. Check out the segments going out on YouTube every weekday, and we'll see you tomorrow on another edition of a little ditty that we like to call the Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Sains, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit twosains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.